So it is my honor and pleasure in honor of our celebration of Israel's 75th anniversary to welcome a wonderful extended member of our community, a friend, a diligent student, but also, what's your actual, is it youth? Is it education director for Stand With Us, the Israel Advocacy and Education Organization? That's right. Oh, look at that. I pulled that out of a hat. All right. John Michael Graves, a.k.a. Yonatan Michael, here to share with us. Yes, please. Here to share with us, from his heart and from his work, some thoughts on this auspicious occasion.
I didn't do my... Okay. Hello, everyone. Shabbat shalom, chevarim. Okay. Gam Hatzmiut Sameach. Okay, everyone. Thank you for the lovely introduction, Rabbi. My name is John Michael, and I'm an Israel educator for Stand With Us. My role in the organization is twofold. I educate students and young professionals about Israeli history, politics, and government throughout the United States. And I help teens respond to anti-Semitism, whether through legal responses or personal mentorship. I'm so proud to be here, celebrating 75 years of the existence of a Jewish state, despite over 3,000 years of larger societies insisting that we are not equal or worthy of basic protections, from pogroms to inquisitions, libels, farhoods, expulsions, yellow stars, dhimmi status, Kassaks, and the Holocaust. The dream of Israel has given us hope. If you would have told me 5 years ago that my professional life would be devoted to Israeli education, let alone advocacy, I would have said mishigas. Notwithstanding, here I am, and let me tell you why. My journey began at the University of Washington. There, like most earnest young Jews in the area, I aligned myself with as many progressive causes as I could. I got involved with the Young Democrats, marched for environmental awareness, engaged in LGBT advocacy, became a vegan for a short stint, and of course joined a Marxist philosophy drinking society. As you may have surmised, my life has been a continual self-selection of liberal spaces, spaces in which I have been privileged to grow up in, considering my own intersectional identities. And then my bubble burst. It started out small. We've all had those comments throughout our lives that we can usually brush off. I do not wish to mention such low-hanging fruit. What was different for me was that in these liberal spaces where I thought we were all united in the ideals of social justice, humanism, and universal progress, I was being actively excluded because of my identity. When I merely asked why someone considered Israel an apartheid state, I was told only a Nazi would ask that, and was no longer welcome in that space. When I was a political science research assistant, funnily enough for a Marxist dissertation, it was quite fun, a colleague found out I was Jewish, then looked me in the eyes and said the solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict was to round up and remove all the Jews from Israel and prevent Jews from visiting. This man, pursuing a graduate degree in global affairs at the UW with the express intent of teaching the next generation, saw no problem using the loaded term, quote, round up the Jews, as long as it was in the context of Israel. This happened in my work life. Then it invaded my personal life. As I approached my favorite deli, which by the way is just a few blocks from here, I'm sure you all know it, I saw the graffiti, quote, end race-based murders, boycott Israel. My heart sank, my knees froze, my sweat turned cold, and I instinctively reached to put away my Magen David, the very one I'm wearing actually. There were many people walking around the deli, ignoring the graffiti as if it were a common occurrence, as if the deli had it coming because it was Jewish and therefore responsible for Israeli actions, real or imagined. Anyone who knows me knows I do not get scared. In fact, I have quite a mouth. However, this time I did. Although my fear didn't come from the words plastered on the brick, but from the many passerby who remained silent. It is the silence I remember more than the vandalism. It is the silence that cut deep. From then, I decided I would never be silent or hide my Jewish identity ever again. No one is a villain in their own story. All of these anti-Semitic interactions had a common thread. The perpetrators thought they were well-informed and occupied the moral high ground. They saw themselves as another Greta Thunberg, speaking truth to power and punching up against unchecked authority. But what they were really doing was trafficking in deeply rooted anti-Semitism. spreading misinformation about Jews and Israel, and fanning the flames of the world's oldest hate under the guise of political activism. Well, John Michael, Yochanan, you may say, what you've said is great and nuanced, and we understand how to parse legitimate criticism of Israel versus anti-Semitism. You're not telling this congregation anything new. I understand. I understand what you're really asking me is if it is possible to maintain progressive values of social justice and support Israel when everything you may have been hearing approaching the 75th about the state seems like a right-wing dictatorship. It is more than possible. I certainly do. And let me tell you why. Israel has been an important social cause for American Jews since the beginning of the modern Zionist movement. It is, at its core, a liberation and decolonization effort to support and recognize the rights of the Jewish people to self-determination in their ancestral homeland. It is the realization of democracy founded on Jewish ideals and values that we strive to live by every day. It is a global leader in education, technology, and innovation, and it is a symbol of hope for Jews everywhere. It might be a symbol, but it is also a real place with living and breathing people with ideas, disagreements, passions, fears, and hopes. Just talk to your average Israeli, oh my God, right? Israelis are human, just like Americans, Palestinians, Canadians, and yes, the French. And no matter how much we would love to idealize a perfect liberal Israel, that doesn't make it infallible. Nor does supporting its right to exist mean you must excuse actions you believe are wrong by the government. Israel is as much a work in progress as it is a beacon, and that we should support its right to grow and change and become better like every other country on the planet. LGBT rights in Israel are an excellent microcosm of Israel's relationship with progress. Israel is the lantern for gays, lesbians, trans folk in an otherwise unlit Middle East. On the positive end, foreign same-sex marriages are recognized within its borders. Gay couples can legally adopt. Surrogacy is allowed. Persecuted gay Palestinians in the West Bank are provided asylum in cities. And the largest pride parade in Asia is held in the city where the highest percent of LGBT people on this planet live. Tel Aviv, 25%. That's a real number. Go check it out. It is so gay. Israel is one of the few places I, as a gay man, shocker, I know, won't be killed for simply being me. On the other hand, while most Israelis support gay marriage, civil marriage does not exist in Israel and lies in the jurisdiction of the cheap rabbinate, meaning gay marriages are not performed within its borders. Additionally, the Jerusalem Pride Parade is met every year with scorn and marked derision from the ultra-Orthodox community in the Old City. There is still immense work to be done, but that does not take away from all the progress it has already made, or Israel's right to continue to grow and improve. I hold a nuanced view, one that speaks to the complexity of so many issues facing the state. James Baldwin, favorite writer of mine, loudly proclaimed, "I love America more than any other country in this world, and exactly for this reason, I insist on the right to criticize her perpetually." This is how I see my work. A love for our community comes with the responsibility to levy stern criticism. However, the most constructive and effective criticisms of Israel come from those who want to see it built up, not destroyed. Israelis in the streets protesting the judicial reforms would consider themselves among the most deeply Zionist. In fact, it is their Zionism that galvanizes them. This rule can be said of the myriad issues facing Israel and what makes supporting it a valid, even a laudable, progressive cause. Progressive support for the existence of Israel is not the contradiction we are often told it is. The Jewish values we strive to uphold flow from our culture and our faith, and Israel is surely the grandest embodiment of its realization in the last 75 years. How can we, as imperfect as we are, value the practice of Judaism in our lives and revere its values and tenets while rejecting the most prominent central instantiation of those values as illiberal, as imperfect. We could as easily abandon the difficult daily task of living a virtuous life, bemoaning our many failings as irrevocable stains upon our progressive ideals. Our family, community, and Jewish homeland all live under that same strain we ourselves experience and fall short as we do. So why do we sit in synagogue today? Because the pursuit of the progressive Judaic ideal in our families, our communities, and in Israel itself is no less essential to living a Jewish life than that same daily pursuit in ourselves. This is my modus operandi. Though choosing to follow Jewish law and tradition is difficult in the modern era, it is a cause we all in this room, for some reason, find important enough to pursue. I'm asking you to take this further, to extend your support you show for your family and community, further still, to Israel. As we are here today celebrating Yom HaAtzmaut, I'm reminded that Israel has not simply survived but thrived. Israelis have climbed to heights our forebears in the diaspora would have staggered at. Ranked 11 in number of Nobel laureates per capita in the world, more than China or Australia, with more companies listed on the NASDAQ than the entire continent of Europe, the fourth highest number of Grand Chess Masters per capita, had to throw that in, a country known as the startup nations with inventions such as the pill cam, drinking water produced from air, devices that smell disease, and much more. Israel proves what Jews can do when we are actually treated like full and equal citizens and are finally able to defend ourselves under the constant threat of death. And that's just the past 75 years. Hold for applause. This Yom HaAtzmaut, there is a lot to be grateful for about Israel. There are myriad ways to engender a communal Jewish spirit here in Seattle and build a strong local Jewish identity that does not involve subscription to the notion that one must apologize for loving your homeland, no matter how deep our criticisms cut of it. If anyone makes you choose between social progressivism and Zionism, they don't understand that they are doing to you what they would never sanction for any other group. If anyone makes you choose between social progressivism and Zionism, they don't understand that they're engaging in fundamentally denying your right to be a larger part of your own history and people. If anyone makes you choose between social progressivism and Zionism, they don't understand that the two exist in partnership, not at war. Thank you, Chaverim. Shabbat Shalom.